Hi guys, so this is my third time starting to record this video because I keep not being sure what it is that I actually want to say and how I want to say it. I am currently on the beach in Kerry, as you might be able to tell if you've seen previous videos of mine, and I can feel a wind blowing off the sea, or actually it's not even off the sea, it's across the beach, and I'm really hoping that it's not going to be really strong on the mic. I'm really hoping I get away with this video anyway. It's always windy down here, but it's not quite as windy as usual, which is why I thought that I might get away with it. So yeah, I'm in Kerry. I'm just walking backwards right now to avoid the waves because the tide's coming in and I keep forgetting that I need to keep moving outwards. I'm in Kerry taking a bit of a break from life, which was planned. I had originally planned to be here in February, but then we had a kind of, a blizzard over here in Ireland and in the UK. So I didn't get here in February, and now I'm kind of here on a delayed kind of short vacation. But another strong reason for me being here and needing to take a break from life, from the PhD, from, ordinary life, is that, the reason that I've been particularly quiet over the last kind of month or two is that a month ago, myself and my partner, we broke up. And it was a very amicable breakup. We are still friends, and it was, in the end, I think quite a mature and mutual decision that we made, and we made it very kind of consciously and calmly and with the very strong intention of still wanting to be in each other's lives. With the awareness that is of course going to be difficult at first, and it's going to take time to get used to and sort out, and for that to settle. But yeah, I'm okay. I am doing really good, especially in the last week or two. The first couple of weeks were obviously hard, and as much as anything, just with the difficult and upsetting process of her, we were living together for 6 months, so she was moving out and all of that it's heavy, it's difficult. It's difficult even to get used to, just getting used to being by myself again, having my own space again, and that kind of thing, and just the whole thing sinking in. But I think by the time it kind of sank in and that I was starting to get back into the flow of being a single person and having a lot of time and space to myself, just spending more time with friends as well, I think by the time that all settled on me, I was feeling much, much better, and I'm feeling very kind of stable now and very comfortable with this decision and with this change and with everything going forward. So yeah, no need to worry about me. Everything's completely fine, and I'm very, very happy that we've made that decision to be friends, and we have been seeing each other a little and staying in touch and everything, and hopefully that will continue to be possible going forward, without too many hiccups. So of course these things are never straightforward. That's all pretty much that needs to be said about that, I think. But yeah, it put a spanner in the works, obviously. It was a long time coming in some ways. It was a little while coming in other ways. It was just one of those things that kind of crept up on us and has certainly been impacting our lives for the last couple of months, at least. So in a way, it's kind of, now that I'm actually picking up the pieces following that decision, I feel like it's like now I can get back into the flow of things. But it's obviously taking time, and that's why I've been so quiet, and why, even though I keep feeling for the past year, I keep feeling like I'm on the brink of getting back into a creative flow, in terms of just my own creativity and as Anya Orga. And then just things keep happening, and I keep getting setbacks, and it just doesn't quite happen in the way that I'm expecting, which is okay, but I'm kind of just wanting to get to that place that I keep thinking I'm about to get to, in terms of just getting back into a better flow of creating blog posts and videos. I think part of it has just been feeling a bit stuck in the past, like feeling stuck in that kind of mindset of I have to keep creating the kinds of videos and kinds of blog posts that I used to. And the reality is, guys, I've changed a lot. Like, I think moving to Edinburgh and studying religious studies and thinking so much more in an academic context about religion, about spirituality, about life, has changed me. It's changed my spiritual practice, it's changed my spirituality, it's changed my personality, and it's bringing big questions up to the fore again about what it is that I really want to do with my life, what it is that I want to say, and what it is on a day-to-day basis that I want to be saying, because I keep struggling with that. I keep feeling from day to day or week to week that maybe that's not quite what I want to be saying, and this is very much spilling over to the PhD. So you may or may not know that I'm writing a PhD on the Dark Goddess, and figuring out what in the hell it is that I want to say about the Dark Goddess has been one of the biggest struggles of my life so far. And I'm like a year and a half into that now, with like an official break in the middle, but and I'm still not necessarily any further along than I was when I started. In terms of, I've done work, I've written words, I've read books, I've watched videos, I've done all that shit, but like I'm not any closer to feeling confident about where it is I want to go with that, what it is I want to explore, and that's frustrating too. So I've really just been feeling over the past couple of weeks, and maybe going through this breakup, this dissolution of a relationship, and this ending to a really key part of my life. I mean, a couple of months ago I thought that I had everything settled and sorted. I thought that I knew what the next, at least the next couple of decades of my life were going to look like. I had plans, we had plans together. And in a way, kind of the pulling apart of those specific plans has maybe allowed me to realise just more explicitly just how much I need to let go of living in this kind of future version of myself, and constantly feeling kind of concerned that I'm not reaching that I'm not achieving, I'm not managing to become this person that I'm not. And that just has to stop. I just have to stop living in the future and living in this sort of dreamland of like, well, everything's going to be fine and I'm going to feel wonderful once I become the kind of person who X, Y, Z. And yeah, I've just been, I think with the PhD and the Dark Goddess stuff, I've really been stuck in that. I've really had this feeling of like, I want to be the kind of person who wants to write all this stuff about the Dark Goddess, who writes about like countercultural stuff, and it's all this kind of, it's this vague kind of stuff that isn't really there in the material that I've looked at. And it's like, I have this vague idea that it's the kind of stuff that I should want to write about. And I don't know, I can't even put words on it briefly for you guys, so I'll just say that. I was thinking earlier as I was walking along the beach, I was like, what I keep shying away from with writing about the Dark Goddess is this stuff about the Dark Goddess in the books and the videos that I've watched and read, the kind of core of the material available on the Dark Goddess, kind of capital letters. It's very therapeutic, it's very focused on this exploration of the self, development of the self, kind of healing of the self, and going through difficult life experiences and life journeys, and how the Dark Goddess is wrapped up in that. And I think a part of me has just not wanted to see that and not wanted to do that, because in my head I'm like, oh, well, if I'm writing about the Dark Goddess as a therapeutic thing, that's going to come out as a piece of research that basically is insinuating that, oh, the Dark Goddess reverence isn't real religion, quote unquote, real religion. That it's just this sort of self-help thing. I just had this idea in my head of what that research would look like, and it didn't seem like the kind of research that I wanted to do. It didn't seem like what I wanted to say. I didn't want to be dismissive about it. I didn't want to be doing this whole, because I've read a lot of books that are like this about, say, the New Age, books that were written in the 90s, and they're talking about the New Age as being somehow lesser than other forms of religion, because it's materialistic, because it's consumerist, because it's this, because it's that, because it's therapeutic. And you know what? Honestly, I'm calling bullshit on that. I'm calling bullshit on that notion that I have developed in my head, that it's a lesser form of religion. or that it's not religion, or that's something else, or and like I go back and forth a lot in terms of whether I feel like my own work on myself, like self-work, self-development, self-care, and whether all of that stuff is or is not part of my spiritual practice, and to what extent those two things, like whether it should be linked to reverence or not. And like, I kind of feel like a bit like, who cares? Like, who cares if it is? And if it's not, then fine. And why is that? Why am I feeling so worried about looking into that? And you know why it is? I think it's because I am afraid of coming to a conclusion. I've been afraid of coming to a conclusion that what I'm doing is not what I'm doing, and what maybe other people who do similar kind of religious practices to me are doing isn't real religion. That it's not big enough, it's not important enough, it's not deep enough, it's not transcendental enough. And yeah, I'm calling bullshit. And I do want to explore that. It's what's come out really strongly in the Dark Goddess stuff. It comes out strongly in other forms of pagan practice, in other forms of spiritual practice. It comes out strongly all the time in this community. This therapeutic focus on the development and exploration of the self. And I've never enjoyed, like I said, I've never enjoyed the literature I've read on it that takes that kind of tack, that looks at that aspect of it. And it's time maybe for someone to come in with a different perspective. It's time for me to open myself up to that. And I think this is actually going to have an impact on my own perception of my own personal spiritual practice as well. To get, open and honest and critical without being negative about that aspect of this form of spirituality. And really open it up and explore it. And part of that will involve me acknowledging that this kind of focus on the self and focus on development of the self, improvement of the self, this kind of well-being focus, like part of that is going to involve me saying, well, hey guys, this is really born of this neoliberal ideology that we're living in. And it's an ideology that I don't necessarily agree with in terms of, especially in the way that it's manifested in politics. And it's so tied in with this capitalist world that we're living in. And there's a lot of icky stuff in there that I'm like, oh, I don't like that about the world we're living in. But hey, it's the world we're living in. It's not a surprise that the things that we're looking at, the things that are arising in that context, especially things that have been arising in the last 30 years in that time of neoliberalism. Not surprising that it's echoing it, that it's informing it. And that's fine. I'll acknowledge it, and that'll be part of what I'll be looking at and talking about. But I can go further than that. Like, that's a really obvious thing to say, you know what I mean? It's like, that's the first thing that comes to mind. I can dig deeper than that. I can dig deeper into, why we think, like, why we have this idea of, like, well, it's not real religion if it's this sort of neoliberalism, focus on the self, not communal, not transcendental enough. There's all sorts of, that's just making all sorts of assumptions, all sorts of Christocentric assumptions, actually, about what real religion is anyway. And I got really into the theory of religion when I was first doing my master's, about all this stuff about these kind of Protestant-based ideas that we have about what religion is and what it should be. And I got really into that, all that idea about, what we've internalized as what religion is. When I say religion, I mean religion/spirituality. I kind of use religion as a catch-all term, which is generally what's done in the field. So, there's just more to be said, frankly. There's more to be explored about why it is that people feel as though this self-exploration is a spiritual thing. I think it's interesting that, because these people who are exploring the Dark Goddess, who are calling their experiences, their life experiences, interactions with the Dark Goddess, who are framing them in that way. Those times that we have in our lives when we feel like, God, that was such a Dark Goddess time. I really went to the underworld, or like the Morrigan was really, really there. Sure, that could be just us reframing. I say just, that's a problematic term, and that's exactly the kind of stuff that I want to unpack. But we could just say, okay, that's just us reframing life events in terms of the kind of discourse that we move in. We have these pagan circles that like to relabel life experiences as experiences with particular goddesses, blah, blah, blah. But that's interesting. Like, that's interesting shit. I think it's and I also actually don't think that it is that different to what other people in other kind of religions do as well. It's like, I think a lot of people in different religions, it is quite therapeutic focus. Like, we do look at events in our lives and think of them in terms of how our divine force is interacting with us. We do reframe them in that way. Whether it's Jesus, or the Morrigan, or anything else for that matter. And yeah, I'm kind of just now, literally as I've been walking along the beach, I've been thinking about this. And thinking about how, personally, as somebody who has approached spirituality and religion from this very self-oriented place, and from this place of self-exploration, that being a very personal thing, it's not a communal thing, it's not a communal practice, it's all about me, myself, my relationship to divinity, and also this exploration of the self, very much alongside, hand in hand, with that exploration of transcendence and something greater than me, and the expression of reverence. And, you know, it's interesting, and I want to dig into it. And I don't have any conclusions to offer right now. Don't have much to say about what that might look like, because I haven't started doing that work yet. But I think maybe that will help me generally with some of the stagnation I've been feeling in terms of my own spirituality. Because I think sometimes I have felt as though I'm missing the point in some way, because I'm getting so caught up in this therapeutic language and this sort of tendency to focus on inner work and the self and that kind of thing. And sometimes I think I've beaten myself up about that and felt like, no, I should be having these big transcendental experiences. I should be focusing on my relationship with other. I should be focusing on my relationship with the world around me, with nature, with cosmos, with, you know, that's all well and good. The reality is that in this community, in this kind of spirituality, two things do come hand in hand. It seems to be this natural relationship. There has to be something to do with that. There has to be a reason. There are reasons for that that I have explored before. And yeah, do you know what? It's time to get into that. It's time to think about it. Get on board with it and accept it, and stop feeling like it's devaluing my religious self, like it's devaluing my reverence, because it's not. If anything, the two things just strengthen each other. So yeah, I just had that moment of that kind of aha moment while I was walking along the beach, where I thought, I keep cycling back to that therapeutic. My supervisor keeps drawing that out. He's like, there's a lot of stuff about it. It's very therapeutic. It's very therapeutic. Every time he says it, it makes my skin crawl. And I just think, yeah, but that's not, yeah, that's nice, Steve, but that's not really what I want to say. That's not really what makes me uncomfortable. I'm like, it's not just that though. I want to say other things. And I'm like, so say the other things, but also say this. That should be my springboard. There's no point in not making that my springboard. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. That's what my life is. And that's just a sort of, yeah, I would say an update video, but also just musings on my developing thoughts about the Dark Goddess and the therapeutic nature of that, and the therapeutic nature of the spirituality that many of us have. So I'm really, really hoping that this video actually is actually audible. That I don't have to just remake this video another day, but I will if I have to. I'm not sure if I'm going to walk much further today, actually. I've gone quite far along the beach. I might turn back soon. There's nobody now anywhere near me. It's really beautiful. I don't think the camera really does it justice, because the colours of the mountains are quite vivid, really. Gosh, there's nobody on the beach. There's like 2 people really far away, and that's it. I've got the place to myself. But yeah, this is the panorama of where I'm walking right now. It's really beautiful. I am always so happy when I'm here. It just resets me. Coming out here onto the beach and walking by the sea, so much comes into focus for me. I really start to get clarity on big picture questions in my life, and these ideas of what is it I want to be doing? you know, and I just have, yeah, clarity. I just have these moments of like, well, duh, you know, everything seems simpler, easier. I'm like, yeah, I just need to do that. I just need to finish that novel, for example. It's nearly done. Anya, why won't you just finish it? Just finish it. Just, it doesn't have to be perfect. And Anya, just write about the therapeutic nature of the Dark Goddess. It's there. It's in the literature. It just keeps coming out of all of the research that you've been doing. So write about it. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid of, I think I'm always afraid that I'm going to end up doing something that isn't what I want to do, that I'm going to somehow lose control over the situation. Maybe it's that I'm afraid of something that's in me. Maybe I'm afraid of my own realizations, you know, that I want to kind of be in denial, that I don't want to actually realize the truth about things, and that has to stop. That's pointless. I mean, if there are uncomfortable realizations for me with regards to my own spiritual practice and paganism in general, or etc., 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 there's no point in running away from that. There's, I mean, that's why I'm an academic right now, anyway, if not forever. It's so that I can delve into things and actually be honest. And yeah, I think I felt like I lost a lot of agency during the master's degree. And like my research was driven in certain directions. And I think it was in a large part because it was a taught master's, and, you know, we had a relative lack of control because I ran out of time to read a lot of literature, to read a lot of theory and do new stuff. We were very much directed by our teachers in terms of what we read, what kind of theory we were reading, what kind of analysis that we ended up doing. And I think maybe that made me feel like in academia that I don't have autonomy. And that might be true to an extent as well in terms of getting funding. Like, there's always this kind of politics about what gets funding and what doesn't. But realistically, like, I don't think I'm going to stay in academia for all of those reasons, because it's not quite what I thought it was going to be. But for the PhD, I do have autonomy. I don't need to, especially when I'm not going to stay in academia, I don't need to please anyone, really. Like, I just have to do a good research project that stands up and that makes sense, and that they're willing to give me a PhD for. Like, at the end of the day, I have complete control, and I think I need to really remind myself of that. And yeah, stop being afraid of what might come out of it, and stop being afraid of how I might change, you know. And that's always, I think that's a thing that we can really easily do, is start to be afraid of the ways in which we might change and the things that we might lose. But you know what, for everything that we lose, we gain something else. We gain insight, we gain perspective. And if we just allow ourselves to keep being curious, to keep having curiosity, to keep following up on those things that interest us, you know, the void will always get filled again. And I think that's what's happened to me, is that I haven't been allowing that void to get filled up again. I've stagnated. So I'm excited now. I have to say, for the first time in a really long time, I am genuinely excited to start reading new things, to allow myself to have new perceptions of life, of spirituality, of what it is that I'm doing with my life, to have new ideas. And yeah, it's scary, and sometimes I'm like, what am I doing with my life, and what am I going to do with my life, and where is this all going? And I'm going to be 31 and I'm going to have a PhD and nothing else to show for myself, and not a clue of where to go next. But I've just got to take it as it comes. I've just got to have faith that opportunities will arise when I need them. You know, that once I need to go out into the world and find something to do with myself, I will do that. You know, it'll happen. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Just this kind of weird combination of excitement and also terrible anxiety about the fact that that life is wide open right now, and I just need to step up to the plate and start filling it. So I hope you enjoyed this walk with me. I hope this video worked out okay. There isn't too much noise from the wind. And I might do another video like this while I'm here. I actually really enjoy bringing you with me on my walks and chatting to you, because I have a lot of clarity while I'm out walking. You know, thoughts come to me, and it's actually, I often really do feel like grabbing the camera and recording them, not just for you, but for my own sake as well, so that I remember the thoughts that I've been having. So yeah, I think I'm going to start walking back home. And yeah, might well be talking to you again while I'm here. And thanks for bearing with me, guys. Thanks for following me along in the last couple of years, even though I have been more sporadically posting. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for all the comments that you've been leaving, even though I haven't always been good at replying. You know, I'm not going to make any promises, but I'm still wanting to do this. I'm still wanting to share my thoughts with you. I'm still wanting to create content as Anya Orga, and I'm hoping that over time will become more. So yeah, take care, everyone. Hope you all had a really wonderful equinox. I had a really nice evening. I've been quite distracted at home. Lots of stuff going on, very busy. But I did actually do ritual on the equinox, and yeah, it was nice. It was good. Good to be at the altar, spending time in sacred space. So yeah, I hope you all had lovely equinox. I hope you're enjoying, if you're in the northern hemisphere, I hope you're enjoying the lengthening days. I know I am. And yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. Take care.